What's happening in Israel? Let's talk about it. First of all, do I think the U.S. is going to engage in any type of not diplomacy, but military intervention? I think they will try to engage in diplomacy with Hamas and Israel, but do I think they're going to engage in military intervention? Absolutely not. Personally, I think we have some type of deal that was set up during George W. Bush time, where it was like, listen, if you want us to stay out that beef, you know what I'm saying? Because Israel, that's like little bro. You know what I'm saying? That's like little bro. So Israel's probably like, listen, anything to do with Palestine, we'll handle that. Y'all don't get involved in that. Promise us you won't get involved. You know what I'm saying? So we probably set something up during when George W. Bush was president. Listen, Israel, we won't get involved in that. Aside from giving y'all support and supplies. Israel is made up of some bad motherfuckers. Let me tell you. I once knew a former Army Ranger who worked at the wilderness program I was at when I was like 13. And he said, you know, me, him, and this kid, Hunter, and some other kid was talking. And Hunter asked him, like, who he thought, because Hunter was an older kid who used to go to military school. And didn't do well at military school, so he wound up at this program. And, they were all asking, Hunter asked this dude, he's like, who's the strongest army in the world? America. And this dude goes, he may be most technologically advanced, but he's like, no, the strongest army, Israel. He said, them people just got a will to fight that is unmatched. He's like, I've trained with multiple different armies around the world, unmatched. He's like, Israel has the most heart, the most will to fight in them out of anybody. You know what I'm saying? They be like, what did Eminem say? Thanks, I see you, D12, and thanks, but me need no help, or whatever the fuck. Yeah, that's how Israel is. They don't need no help. I think they're one of the only other countries that operates Apache helicopters. I don't know. I know like Saudi Arabia is the second largest operator of Blackhawks. I could imagine Israel being like the second largest operator of Apaches in the world. Straight up launching Stinger and Hellfire missiles into the Gaza Strip. They don't give a fuck. Who was it? Was Uganda in this 6-day war? It was like 3 different armies. I know one of them was Egypt. But like Israel made them and like 2 other armies strip turn around and go home after less than a week. So you don't fuck with Israel. They don't need no help. They'll be like, I see you, big bro. I got this. Don't worry. Yeah, just send the M16s. Send some M16s, some F-16s, some F-15s. Send us some Apaches. We good. You know you can trust us with your laser, guided targeting and shit. You know we not selling that. That's ours now. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you got any nukes? We got that nuclear ambiguity. They don't know we have them. You know Israel, little bro, because the U.S. don't even get nuclear ambiguity. That means they don't have to confirm or deny the existence of. You can't. If you ask about it, they don't have to answer. That's cool. Like, I don't know of no other state. Like Wikipedia even says, enjoys a state. They use the word enjoys a state of nuclear ambiguity. Israel's probably like one of the unlisted NATO parties. And that's not because we don't want people knowing Israel's part of NATO. That's not because Israel doesn't. It's because it's tactically advantageous. It's always assumed, but you don't really know till shit hits the fan. Then you see a bunch of Israeli motherfuckers with their 6-point star ride with us like it was a bunch of Crips with us or something. Pulling up at your front door. Like, hey, knock, knock, we here, motherfucker. Here's a Tomahawk cruise missile. Let you know. So that's not the point of this whole video. I just had to throw that out to get that out the way. And I just had to get that out the way because a tremendous amount of people in my personal life, from my wife to my brother Smiles, everyone without any like extensive military family like I have that they can just go talk to, you know what I'm saying? Or without having been able to have conversations like I had with a former Army Ranger. You know, when I was 13 and living in the woods, like, dude's name was, we used to call him Tree. His name was Gant. That was his, you know, Mr. Gant, Instructor Gant, whatever the fuck you want to call him. That was his real name. But, he was a fucking, he used to be a fucking Army Ranger. You know, with multiple tours of duty and shit. A lot of probably shit he couldn't talk about having been involved with. But, yeah, dude, we used to call him Tree because he was like 6'9" and stocky as hell. Like, that's why they was probably like, yo, and you used to be an Army? Yeah, you're in, bro. You're in. That's the thing about that program, bro. They loved hiring ex-military dudes. Like, we had so many, like, not even just ex-military. We had a lot of ex-SF dudes, too. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I got to have a lot of people who weren't in my family that were military, ex-military, special forces, or CIA, or none of that. I got to interact with a lot of people like that who weren't in my family. So, it was kind of cool having the viewpoint without having, like, this thing about always talking to Pops. Pops, it's like, he's going to put the whole spin on it that they want you to hear. That man is a company mate till he dies. I don't know what he did in the military, but whatever he did, he had to sign some type of fucking allegiance or something to lie for them motherfuckers till the casket dropped. Till the fucking casket dropped. Either way, he act like shit that's been declassified for like 10 years is still classified. I remember talking about MK Ultra. He's like, it doesn't exist. I sent him a Wikipedia article on it. He goes, okay, we're just trying to beat the Russians. We're trying to beat the Russians. Either way. So, I had to say that because my wife called me. She go like, "Are we going to war with Israel?" I'm like, "No, I don't think we're going to war in Israel. I don't think this has happened. Like, this is not the first time this happened. This happened multiple times since I've been alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's happened multiple times in my lifetime that this conflict has heated up. That's what makes me think we have some type of like agreement with Israel that Palestine probably knows about, because I think that's why George W. Bush was so like, there's pictures of him, mad pictures, like probably more pictures of him meeting with Yasser Arafat, who was the leader of the PLO, than there are of him meeting with whoever was running Israel at that time. Like, it's the only reason I know who Yasser Arafat was. I thought it was cool because his first name was like, yes sir. His last name is like Arafat. It's not spelled with I, it starts with A. But he really just cared about his people. Like, as I get older with a more mature mindset about things, I'll be like, he just wanted his people to have their little slice of pie, man. You can't be mad at that. Well, I'm pretty sure Bush, if he signed such an agreement that people weren't supposed to know about, would have gone and been like, because Yasser Arafat always tried to keep a political, like he tried to keep things diplomatic. I don't think the PLO is considered a terrorist organization nowadays. Not to be confused with the Patricia Hearst PLO. But yeah, that's the People's Liberation Organization. That is a terrorist organization. But the Palestinian Liberation Organization, I don't think is labeled a terrorist organization. Because if they were, I don't think those pictures with George W. Bush would exist, because the United States does not negotiate with terrorists. And that ties in perfectly with the point of this video. Okay? So, you might say, well, what is the point of this video, Mac Bundles, Snow White? What is the point of this video? Well, the point of this video is that Harvard Law School or something. I don't know if it was just all Harvard or Harvard Law School. A bunch of students at Harvard done signed a whole bunch of petitions saying that they stood with Hamas. Let me tell you something. My mom, my adopted mother, went to go on a girls trip with like 3 or 4 of her friends, right? One of her friends, you could tell, right? If you knew this woman, this story makes total sense. So they get to TSA, Her and three of their friends are like right through the security checkpoint. You know what I'm saying? It's right post 9/11, so their bags is going through and all that. They pull the fourth lady aside. Miss, come here. Come here. They don't even say you've been randomly selected. They just say, come here. And they bring her in this little room, this little glass room where all the other three ladies can see them talking to her. And she's just like, no, sir. No. Yes. No. Like, and I guess what had happened was in college, I've developed a saying that if you're going to get labeled an extremist or a domestic terrorist or anything like that, any of those Patriot Act terms, the place where you get aligned with things like that is a foreign country or college, a college campus. So basically what happened during college in the 60s, this woman was part of some type of group that I guess did a couple sit-ins and shit. Remember, this is back when people was, I don't know if this is during when people was trying to stop segregation or after that. I'm assuming after that because this woman's a little bit younger than my mom is. And basically, yeah, if you knew this woman too, this woman owns like a taco restaurant and shit. If you knew this woman, she'd be like, I could see it. It makes sense now. She's not no terrorist. She was just a hippie who thought she had a cause. She wasn't doing nothing wrong, man. But I guess what she had been affiliated with is now labeled as a terrorist organization. It wasn't at the time, but because they had her as arrested for protesting something in the 60s and affiliated with this, it stuck. And now, when she goes to the airport, it's not even, miss, you've been randomly selected. It's like, come here, we need to talk to you. So, like, after like, her saying, no, I'm not going to act up on this flight, that was something I did in college. That has nothing to do with me now. Like, they let her get on the plane. But, yeah, for, like, a good 20 minutes, my mom was like, it was the longest 20 minutes ever, because we're just watching this conversation happen through these glass windows. Can't hear shit. But they have it like it's some type of like showcase, like it's a display, like you can window shop this shit, like right in front of everybody. So yeah, I mean, this is what happened at Harvard. A bunch of people like this woman I just talked about, all signed. I think it's because in college, bro, especially if you're like a freshman or sophomore, you're at the, especially if you're going somewhere like Harvard, you're at the point, you're smart, but you start thinking you're smarter than you really are. And it's the point in your life, I always say, is where you haven't realized yet that you don't know everything. That you don't have all the answers. You realize that shit about you realize that shit maybe about, for me it was like 5 years ago I realized that. You know what I'm saying? If I had just gone to 4-year college like I was planning when I dropped out twice, I wouldn't be at that point when I graduated. And I think it's set up like that. But, so all these people signed their names that, you know what I'm saying, they still with Hamas and shit. And someone very certain Israeli sounding last name reached out and wanted to know the names of these people. You know, so that no one would hire them who was from an Israeli descent. I mean, that's kind of logical. Okay, yeah, people graduate Harvard, or as this dude I think was a Harvard alum as well. Basically just like, you know, it makes some sense. I wouldn't say it makes all the sense, but it makes some sense. It's more sensible than what happened. So some guy, who I think is a fall guy in a fall company named Adam Gillette, with something called like American something rather, very conservative organization, comes out and says, and it's found out he paid for something that is being deemed a doxing truck. It is the most 1984 fucking thing I've ever heard of, ever existing. You feel me? The most fucking nice. It literally puts the name, clubs they're associated with, where they hang out at, all types of fucking information about the people who signed this shit, and just plays it on a loop. So people who like have no idea what's going on, who don't go to Harvard, aka the majority of where they're at, are gonna fucking, not including Harvard, but like the town surrounding it. Usually those types of universities have a love-hate relationship with the town surrounding them. So like I can imagine driving by if you're in that town and you don't realize what is being put out for. You just Google and find someone who goes to Harvard and be like, I don't like Harvard anyways. Fuck them motherfuckers. I'm gonna find this person where they're at and stalk them and do all type of illegal shit. Like I could see some wacko doing that. You know what I'm saying? Welcome home, BG. Welcome home. Hot Boys Part 2. The Expendables for rap music. The rap music Expendables. Y'all should call that album, if y'all do a Hot Boys Part 2, BG, call it The Expendables. That would be so fucking lit. Either way, I'm surprised that they didn't try to, the Wu-Tang album came out, they didn't try to call that shit The Expendables. That would have been gangster. And you would have been able to cross-hype it with the movie coming out. That's how you do that. Just for once, that's how you shoot that. Either way. So, this doxing truck rides around, like I said, putting all that shit out there, is the most 1984 sounding thing I've ever heard of. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, no one just thought to go to an area where there's no cameras, where they're concealed by some shit like bushes or something. Take a rock and throw it right at that LCD screen. It's like one of them screens, I guess, they use. It seemed modified from what they used for I don't want to say production, construction and whatnot. Like, it seems not like it's partially that and partially an actual, like, you can put imagery and shit from what I saw. Because the part where we're showing the clubs they're associated with was, like, different. It was not just a black background with lights on it that display whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? It actually had some color to it and whatnot. It seemed like an actual screen. I don't know if the whole truck was like that or if that was just what that part was like. Well, I don't know. But I know it was putting all that shit out there. And people are like, well, this is knowledge, is public information. But no one's looking for it. That was my point with what I just said. Nobody is looking for that information without you giving them a reason to. Which, putting some shit on a fucking electronic billboard truck is doing. Because people who are like driving by are like, well, is this pertinent? Especially if it looks like one of those ones that's used for construction or for like letting you know to put your seatbelt on and shit. Are gonna be like, well, does this have something to do with traffic? Is this something I should know about if I'm driving? And so they gonna be like, and then you're just gonna see that pop up. So you create, okay, it's public information, but no one's looking for it until you give them a reason to, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is just, it's the most, like, that was the main highlight of all this, is doxing truck. And that's really sad. That's really sad. I stand with Israel on this. I want to make that part clear. I stand with Israel. Hamas is a terrorist organization. The United States does not negotiate with terrorists, nor does Israel times 10. You know, but I don't think we're getting involved in this shit. I think anyone in a university setting should beware that that was probably a trap. If I was in Harvard, imagine some crazy ass parallel universe. I get accepted to Harvard and I'm sitting there and they're asking me if I want to sign this. I'm going to say, I'm good. It looks like a trap. I'm not signing nothing that has to do with saying I stand in support of a terrorist organization. Hell fucking no. And it's like, y'all are going to Harvard Law School. You should know about laws like the Patriot Act. That shit was probably like a pop quiz. They said, let's see how many of these kids have been paying attention. They probably just figured covering federal law like the Patriot Act. Said, let's see how many of these kids was paying attention. I'm pretty sure it was Harvard Law School. That shit is sad. Yo, check this out. Look, you see it goes through this shit. It goes through this shit. That's that Swiss purchase. That's the only good thing the Swiss motherfuckers have come up with besides 6 Sawyers. Fuck you. Fuck your. Fuck your guy. Damn, am I gonna be able to say this or not? And I fucked my shirt up. Good deal. Fuck your halogen, whatever the fuck it's called, collider. Fuck the particle collider. The only thing good the Swiss came up with. Swiss Perk and 6 Sawyers. I'm out this bitch with my fucked up shirt.